Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to episode 37 of the FPL family. This is our 4th, 5th, 6th live stream. I think it's got to be about the 5th or 6th, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, flying by as usual. Thank you for joining. What are we? Episode 37, Game Week 25 Preview. So the game weeks are coming thick and fast now. We're going to have a bit of a reaction to the FA Cup. We've got to do that because actually, if I look at the way the FA Cup has gone, had my FPL team been playing this game week, I think I would have done all right. I had Salah, Firmino, I got Kane playing. Would have done all right, I think.
Alonso
Leicester players.
would have got me
Alonso would have done all right for you.
Yeah.
So I think that was reflected actually in the Twitter community. A lot of people saying, why the hell are these players like banging in the FPL points now? Save it for midweek. Absolutely save it, guys. Absolutely
I love
save
a
it.
midweek. I just love a midweek.
I quite like a midweek. And I actually quite like the fact that we can do the preview on a Sunday night. That's quite cool, isn't it? Because although we normally sit here and we react to what's just happened, it's kind of nice to be looking ahead to the midweek. Something to look forward to during the week, isn't it?
Yes.
Makes Monday morning at work not quite as bad as it normally is.
Particularly when your team's got a big game in the middle of the week. It's always nice.
Absolutely. So give us a very quick reaction to the FA Cup. Spurs result, maybe not what you wanted, but you beat them at Wembley, right?
It's definitely not what I wanted. Definitely not what I wanted. I'm annoyed about having a replay. I'm more annoyed with you for wanting them to get a replay the whole game.
Oh, come on.
Let them have
now
it.
Listen.
Let them come back to Wembley. Oh.
Listen, this is League 2, Newport County.
But
you guys, come on, tell me. You can't begrudge them that, right? They battled so hard for that. And for them to have a day out at Wembley now, and this is not being derogatory at all about them, but that's a massive, massive day out for them now. And a payday for the club. The fact that they went toe-to-toe with you for 80 minutes, I think they absolutely deserve it. Absolutely deserve it.
They did deserve it. To be fair, they did. We were very off.
You got off it actually.
We
Missed
were
Christian Eriksen again, I thought.
But there was a lot of kind of weird. It was a weird team selection. I thought I don't really understand what happened. It was sort of like let's play half. Let's play half of the first team and give the other half a rest, but not really the half that needed the rest that got the rest. I don't know. It was very bizarre.
What? You just completely baffled me with that. The rest that need the rest.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, do the youngsters really need a rest? But yet he plays, plays Vertonghen. Like, surely Sanchez needs less of a rest than Vertonghen does.
I thought he might play Alderweireld as well to give him a bit of match fitness, but maybe he's not quite ready yet. I don't know.
Maybe he's just saving him for United.
Maybe.
Who knows? I'm less unhappy than you are.
Oh yeah, but it was bad, wasn't it? It was bad. We were really quite bad. Really quite bad. And actually, were it not for the VAR, it could have been a lot worse. Because if I'm a West Brom fan, I would have been, well, heartily disappointed that goal got ruled off for offside or whatever it was. The VAR called it. And then we go down the other end and he gives us a penalty through the VAR. And, maybe we'll touch on this, guys, because this is, obviously an FPL vlog. But I got really emotional about the VAR thing on Twitter last night, and I had to put out a tweet saying sorry for getting emotional.
Oh, did you?
I did. Yeah, I did.
What did you do?
No, I was getting but I think it was.
You didn't tell me about this.
I was so annoyed about Liverpool's performance. The defending again was so amateur, and Moreno coming back, shock, 2 goals down in 10 minutes. But the defending was so bad that I was just taking it out on the VAR on Twitter, and people were just like, yeah, but it's coming up with the right decisions, Lee. And I'm like, I know, but isn't it pathetic? They need to do it quicker. So I was getting all emotional about it.
The issue I have with VAR, and I get that actually as a system, it's going to take time to understand and get rid of the bugs, and it's got to work. But I was saying to you today, we were driving home from being out, and they were saying that they weren't using VAR in the games today.
Yeah, what's that about?
Now, for me, that makes a mockery of the whole thing. How can you use it in half a round of cup games and not the other half? It all surely has to happen in every single game in that round.
Because what if a team goes through yesterday on the back of a VAR decision, yet today there might have been a dubious decision that doesn't get VAR and the team doesn't go through?
So
what the hell?
For me, actually, everything that happened with VAR in yesterday's Liverpool game was correct. It did mean that the result as the game ended was right and fair and just. That is the key aspect of it. What was annoying and irritating about it as a fan sitting here watching on the TV is the length of time that it took. The guys on BT Sport had it done in 20 seconds.
Yeah, totally.
And that was frustrating. And I imagine, had I been a Liverpool fan, sitting in the stands, I'd have been even more annoyed because you just don't understand what's going on when that VAR decisions are happening. But there you are. That's what it is. So we'll see who comes out the hat for us tomorrow.
Well, let's see. Yeah, let's see. So before we talk about the upcoming game week, before we talk about transfers and captain picks and things like that, and I've got a bit of a secret I need to tell you. You don't know this because you're not on Twitter, but the guys on Twitter will know this. I've played my wildcard this week.
Oh,
so I've played my wildcard.
I nearly swore then. I nearly swore.
I've been keeping that from you all week, waiting to tell you live on YouTube. So the guys all know that because I've been tweeting about it all week and posting teams and stuff.
This is news to you, isn't it? We actually went out, just the two of us, no children on Friday night. We sat and had a proper conversation. He still never told me that.
We can't go out on a date night and talk about FPL the whole night. You've got to talk about something else.
Anyone else think this is grounds for divorce? Maybe the poll should have been that.
Could be.
Should Sam divorce Leo for this lack of wildcard?
Oh, thank you for reminding me, actually. So I have set up a poll.
Which you can't read.
I still don't really know how to read it. We'll see at the end.
So apparently it's my job to read it off YouTube on my phone.
Or maybe somebody in the live chat will be helpful and tell us again at the end. Who's going to be your captain for Game Week 25? I've kept it simple. Let us know who you're going to pick. And if your selection isn't in there, then obviously let us know in the live chat who you think you're going to pick. Before we crack on, we've got to say hello to a few people because there's tons of you on tonight. Really good to see you all.
Somebody tell us, is the sound working better tonight?
Yeah, it was off again last week, wasn't it?
Really
it was weird, wasn't
dodgy
it?
last week, and
weird.
nobody told us that it was dodgy. So,
well, I think to be fair to the guys, it was bitty, wasn't it? It was listenable, but it was a bit of a challenge, wasn't it?
If it gets dodgy, please somebody shout it out on the live chat so that we know, because we are trying to do something about it.
Yeah, as usual, we've turned off everything else that could potentially be taking up bandwidth, even on my laptop. Actually, I noticed I had a couple of windows open last week in the background that could have been, I don't know, running some Google ads or something.
I'm just running the FPL app.
You just got that on. Okay, good.
Who Alonso's playing, isn't he? I wish I knew who his team was.
Who Alonso said what?
Marcus Alonso. That picture.
Oh, yeah. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Somebody, I think, retweeted that he was getting, obviously, a massage or something on the table, wasn't he? And he had his phone in his hand. And the little FPL icon was there. Yeah.
I want to know what his team is. Does he want to join the FPL family? Maybe we should tweet him. Let's tweet him and ask him. Send him a link to the league.
Well, the guy that was tweeting it was just like, let's get this viral. And he tagged me in it, and FPL Fly and a few others. Like, get it viral. And I was like, all right, I'll retweet it. I think FPL Fly, and you guys that aren't following FPL Fly on Twitter, you've got to do it. He's just, not only is he a very, very astute FPL manager, but his comedy is just so dry, brilliant. He was just like, no, if it's going to bang, it'll bang naturally. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, right, okay.
Well, I want him to join our league. I love Alonso. He gets me fancy points left, right and centre.
Oh, God. Well, I'm looking at a wild card and still not thinking about putting Alonso in.
Oh,
but anyway.
Get a grip of reality, man. What is wrong with you? Get Alonso.
Right.
Like, come on, say hello to people.
We've got to say hello to people. Quite bossy tonight. It's because of the wild card thing,
I'm
isn't
annoyed with you now.
You're really annoyed at me.
Me and you, we're going to fall out. I'm not making you dinner after this.
All right. Okay, so let's have a look. So, Mats is on. Mats B. Pedersen, how you doing? Lee, your polls are priceless. Hope you'll be able to read the results tonight. It's basic, Mats.
It's basic nonsense.
But it's got to be basic because I frankly don't know what I'm doing with it. So we're going to keep a basic one. And
if somebody wants to teach Lee how to write a decent poll, please give us your name in the comments.
So FPL Boss is on. Hey Boss, how you doing? Team Alonso, he's saying. Jamal Rice also on Team
Jamal.
Alonso as well. Jamal, who am I to argue with Jamal? So perhaps I should be Team Alonso. Jeff Holt is on. How you doing, Jeff? Aki's on. How you doing, Aki? Let's have a look.
Do you know what I even said to you earlier? Why don't you just play your wild card if you're making all these transfers?
Well, I'm being Skullduggerous, haven't I? Right, let's get through a few more names. Spencer's here. Sounds perfect tonight. Thank you, Spencer. That's good.
Good.
Let's see how long it lasts. Hopefully for the duration.
The whole thing, hope.
Anwanit, as usual, is here. Anwanit, thank you for joining me.
Again
good
now,
to see you.
Anwanit.
Your friend, he's rejoined, even though you gave him some stick last week.
We've made up now.
That is good loyalty there.
I'm over the abuse from last week.
Good loyalty. Jeremy's on. Jeremy T. Good to see you, Jeremy. Who else we got? Dom J, as ever, is back. How are you doing, Dom? And we've got JC. We've got Sai again. Sai, thanks for joining me. Luke is on. How are you doing, Luke? Who else we got here? Luke actually was saying he was at Anfield yesterday. Mingele was getting some stick. Well,
it's probably well deserved, to be honest.
If you play Mingele and Moreno, expect to get beat. So Josh is here. How you doing, Josh? Leo's here. How you doing, Leo? Fast and Bulbous is here. So a whole host of you guys. Thank you for joining. I'm going to go back down to the bottom so you can continue to talk to each other. So guys, thank you all for joining. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with the league because we've not done the league update for a long time.
We've got to see whether Mr. Rice is still at the top, right?
He is indeed still at the top of the FPL Family League.
So let's take a look at this.
I think it's just important that we cover it because we've got this league that we always forget to talk about. And as we're not in the middle of a game week and the league is up to date, I think we should have a little look.
All right, so let's have a look. So Jamal still absolutely smashing it. So 1575, which is frankly outrageous. David Isaac, who I think is a relatively new name. I think he might have only joined the league in the last couple of weeks or so because he's coming in there at 1544. And I remember there being a bigger gap between Jamal and second place.
Got some competition.
So about 30 points there. So that's kind of interesting. And then Avi Kumar, who I think is also pretty new, or else he's had a good few weeks, at 1504. I think that looks like Column. So Column is in at 15.03. And then D-Boy with D-Boy United, who's a mainstay. He's always been there or thereabouts. So, yeah, we've got a few. It's getting a bit more competitive up there. Let's have a look at Jamal's team. Jamal, if you don't mind, we're going to have another look at your side. 62
Where in the
last
world,
week.
Steve?
20th at the moment, which is frankly absolutely ridiculously outstanding. Interested to hear what sort of transfers you've got going on, Jamal, for next week. See, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, what's he doing? No Liverpool players. And then Liverpool lose to Swansea. I mean, obviously knows what he's doing.
Well, he's surely doing something about Lanzini this game week. That would be his transfer.
You would think so. And I would say anybody with any West Ham assets has got to think about doing stuff. I mean, Arnautovic injured for a few weeks, Lanzini out for I think a couple more weeks than Arnautovic, so between 4 or 6.
This wildcard business.
And then you've got Masuaku, who spat at a guy yesterday during the FA Cup game, so he's going to be out for a bit because he got red carded for it. And then the guy who went over on his knee, Obiang, was it yesterday?
Obiang, yeah.
Or I think it was Obiang. Yeah. So loads and loads of West Ham problems right now, and I think some of the guys, or most of you guys, will have at least one of those, if not two. There's plenty of Masuakus out there, and there's plenty of Arnautovic's, which we will come to
and Lanzini's
a bit later on, and a few Lanzini's, as Jamal has got. So why don't we crack on with talking about the headlines from the game week. So let's have a look at game week 25. Where do you want to start?
Well, I think really, and I'm not just saying this, but I think there's only really one game to start with, isn't that? And that's Sanchez's debut at Wembley for United.
Well, that is going to be a hell of a game. And actually, being on Wildcard, I'm thinking about Sanchez being one of the ones to bring in. Clearly, if you're going to go Wildcard like me at this stage in the game, and the reasoning for me going Wildcard, by the way, guys, was I looked at my team and I just thought, not only is there a host of injuries, so Ruben Loftus-Cheek was injured, and Arnautovic was injured, and I had Masuaku and problems at the back. But then I looked at some of the others, and I thought, well, Kenny is going to be out of that side pretty soon because Coleman's coming back, and there was injuries and other things that I was just not happy with at all. So, yes, absolutely, lots and lots of people saving the wild card because between now and the end of the season, there's double game weeks, there's blanks, lots and lots of reasons to need the wild card. However, I looked at my team and I just thought, that is not in good shape. And that's the first time I've really looked at it in a few weeks and thought, that's not in good shape. So I thought it was a good time to use it. Time will tell. But absolutely, I'm looking to differentiate as well because I'm way, way behind, as we discussed in the last vlog. So if you're going to differentiate, and Simon's on tonight, by the way, so Simon Robertson is on. He's also wildcarded, so it'd be interesting to hear your views on this, Simon, and what you are doing on your wildcard. Sanchez is the ultimate differential right now. He's the ultimate differential, and people are going to be ripping up their teams to get him in.
Against Spurs, though?
Well, this is the conundrum. It's like, well, you're on a wild card right now. You probably want Sanchez for the Huddersfield game next game week. Do you bring him in now on the wild card and just accept that the Spurs game he may get something he might not, in preparation for the nice upcoming fixtures and probably a game week 26 captain against Huddersfield, or do you set it up so that you can prepare to transfer him in next game week, or do you not have him at all? This is all been going around in my head for the last week or so, without your knowledge, of course.
I can't get over the outrageous lies.
But let's talk more about the game then. So Spurs and United. It's an interesting game. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't really know.
It's the start of a difficult run for Spurs, isn't it? It is. A patch of 3 games that are very, very tough.
It is definitely. Given that on Sunday we've got to play you, it is definitely a difficult period for us. I don't feel overly confident going into this game. However, I look back at the game at Old Trafford earlier on this season, where we didn't play particularly well.
What was the score in that game? I can't remember.
They beat us 1-0 right at the end of the game, if you remember. Conceded really late on.
Okay, I can't remember, but yeah.
We watched it on the TV and I was thoroughly annoyed.
Not surprised.
And I look back at that game and I think, actually, we played well in that game. We didn't play that well, but we adapted to play their game. We didn't play our normal game.
A lot's happened since then, though. There's a lot transfers and all sorts going on.
Yeah, there's been a lot of change. I am expecting to see Toby back on the pitch on Wednesday night. And if that happens...
Who misses out if Alderweireld comes back in?
I wouldn't expect to see Dembele.
Really? Okay. I guess it's one of those midfielders that's got to miss out, isn't he?
I think what will happen is Dembele... Pochettino's always said for the last... Well, ever since I can remember him talking about Dembele, really, that Dembele hasn't got 90 minutes. He doesn't have 90 minutes in him. So what I would envisage happening is to see Toby for not necessarily the whole game because he's not going to be match
fit.
Okay, yeah. But I could see Dembele missing out for the beginning of that match and Toby playing and then switching.
Okay, because there's a lot of school of thought out there. There's people on Twitter saying that actually Son is going to be the guy to miss out, which I find incredible. And if you go back in history of this season, that sort of makes sense because Son wasn't a regular starter to begin with, and actually Alderweireld going out means a shift in dynamic. It means a change in role for Dyer, and therefore Son comes in.
I agree.
The form that Son has shown since he's been in, he can't possibly leave him out.
And that's why I don't think he will.
Leave him out.
I think you look at the Spurs team at the moment, and actually the creative flair is coming from Sonny. And if you look at the game yesterday, we looked really, really poor with Llorente.
Do you think the creative flair is coming from Son? Because I think you've lacked creative flair altogether since Christian Eriksen's been out.
Well, yes, but if you look at what happened in that game yesterday, we were terrible first half. We were terrible.
I suppose he did come up with the assist for the goal.
Sonny came on, he gave the assist. And it was the one moment in the game where we actually looked like we were going to score a goal.
Yeah, the pressure was on, to be fair.
And I think, for me, Sonny cannot miss out. He cannot leave him out the way we're playing at the moment.
I think I agree with that,
With the way Ali is at the moment, with the way the rest of the team are at the moment, Sonny and Kane are the two that you can kind of, as a Spurs fan, you can put your hat on them.
Okay, so a lot of people talking about potentially getting Aguero in, obviously, because he seems like the obvious captain pick for this game.
Particularly if Sané's injured.
We'll come to that in a second because Sané was one I was looking at as a bit of a differential on my wildcard. Clearly not now with the tackle that happened earlier, which is it's a shocking tackle, and he's probably out for a couple of weeks at least. A lot of people looking at Kane exit again. A lot of people looking at a straight Kane to Aguero.
I just think, and I said this in the last vlog, with any other player, and I'm looking at this with Ali, they're not fixture proof. Ali, against those big sides, could easily blank in all 3 games. Kane, I don't see that way. He is the sort of player that will work his socks off, and he could easily score you points. He can score you points in big games where you're not expecting to get them. So for me...
Well, surely coming up against Liverpool holds absolutely no fear for him based on what he did at Wembley earlier in the season. And actually, I saw the comment on the live stream, on the live chat, so I forget, apologies, I didn't pick up who it was that said it. But there's a point made about, Kane will play better, Spurs will play better when you've got these teams that come out against them. In the same way that Liverpool struggle, right? You sit back and you soak it up. That frustrates Spurs. If you get United, United surely are not going to have just signed Sanchez and come to Wembley and park the bus. You can't believe that Mourinho's he's going to come to Wembley and just shut up shop. He's got to play, surely.
I agree.
And because of that, whether Spurs win the game or not is up for debate, but it gives Kane that space, doesn't it?
I think so too, and so that for me, that's why Kane will be staying in my team during these tricky run of fixtures. Ali is a different matter entirely, but for me, Kane will stay, and I think, I actually did look when I was, like we'll talk about transfers later, but I did look at whether I could afford to upgrade Firmino to Aguero, and I'm about 0.2 short doing it with and the Arnie change I want to do, which is a bit annoying. But actually then I look at it and I think, well, do I really want to get rid of Firmino?
And that is it. That is it. Really. We're looking at Aguero versus Huddersfield and going, that is plum. That is a plum fixture. And he was rested for half the game today, and he only really came on because Sané got injured. So he's looking fresh for West Brom. And if you look at the outcome of that Liverpool and West Brom game, actually the West Brom defence looks a little bit all over the place now because they've got injuries and Evans was feeling his hamstring and stuff. So had they got a week to recover, maybe they'd be all right. But they obviously put a shift in at Anfield, clearly.
To get the result.
So Aguero, a fit and rested, semi-rested Aguero against that West Brom backline looks great. But equally, Firmino can go to Liverpool and go to Huddersfield. Huddersfield woefully out of form, 1 win in 6, I think, maybe 1 win in 7 or 8 in all competitions. You've got to fancy Liverpool going forward against them, haven't you?
And to be honest, I fancy Liverpool at home against Spurs going forward. I don't fancy you defensively against us, but I do fancy you going forward against us. So, I look at Firmino over the next couple of weeks and I think I don't really want to lose you, and I'm certainly not going to lose Kane, so that's where I am.
And actually, I'm on it saying, Liverpool will play better versus Spurs, and he's absolutely right, I think.
That game will be a great game because we'll both go at each other.
Yeah, and actually in previous seasons when you've come to Anfield, we've, that fact that you want to attack, leaves that space in behind for us, it will be like the anti-Swansea game when we played Swansea. Absolutely. Swansea just sat, right? Spurs will want to come out. Should leave space in behind for Salah and Mane, although Mane looks a bit off it.
Don't have a defender in that game. Whatever you do.
No, I don't think so.
26 is it? Don't have a defender for that game.
Yeah. And I've seen
Wildcards
wildcards with Karius and Robertson and players like that in, and even myself, I'm looking at Virgil van Dijk as a defender in my wildcard, and I'm looking at it. I was watching that game at the weekend thinking, how can I justify a £5.5 million Liverpool defender in my FPL team? I just can't right now. No. And it was very. I looked at it and I thought that is very much a heart over head decision. You know, I want Van Dijk to do well, clearly. Hence, I put him in my FPL team. Terrible decision, so I think it's going to be Chilwell instead for Leicester.
Really?
But
what a change!
Well, it's a bit of a change, but actually you've got to look at the Leicester fixtures and stuff, right?
You have to take your goggles off.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
So a couple of people have joined who normally join that we didn't say hello to before. So Eric Lord is here. Eric, how are you doing? Thanks for joining again. And Zane is here as well. So
Zane,
how are you doing, buddy?
Is Batman in?
FPL Batman not here yet, I don't think. Not here yet, I don't think. Leo is saying wildcard in Lee. Yes, I have. So for you guys that have just joined the stream,
liar.
I kept it all week. So go back and watch the replay.
I said to you this afternoon when you were going, I need to do this, and I was like, why don't you play your wildcard? It's a bit late to play wildcard now. You should have played at the beginning of the week, and you just sat there. I didn't even say anything.
Having said that, if you're still thinking about playing your wildcard today, that is still a viable strategy in my opinion. Because playing it at the beginning of the week, there hasn't been that many price changes anyway. You're not really playing that second wildcard to play the market. Not that any of us can play it anyway this year, because it's so difficult to understand the algorithms and stuff. So playing the wildcard, and if you want to play it for this game week, and you play it tonight, still a good strategy in my opinion. Still a good strategy. So anyway, Spurs versus United.
Don't ask me what I think the score's going to be, because I don't know.
Okay, do you know what I think? I think the whole United camp is buoyed by Sanchez coming along. I'm not going to say they're going to go to Wembley and win, because that'll be the end of this stream, because you'll just storm off. But I think they've got. I think they've got every chance. It might
be the end of our marriage, because you've lied to me, and I'm worried about what else you lied to me about now. And now you're going to say you want United to win against Spurs.
Trust me. I don't want United to win against Spurs, but the whole point of trying to predict these games is to give the guys a bit of evening, as to a bit of a feeling as to what we think is going to happen.
I mean, the other thing to say about Kane is obviously he got
definitely don't want United to win.
The other thing to say about Kane, just to take the heat off you for a second, is that he's 1 goal away now from his 100th.
Yeah, there's all that stuff.
In the 26 guys that have done it before him, nobody's ever done it against United, got their 100th. So let's hope for it on Wednesday night. 1-0 Spurs.
Okay. So I think it's a very difficult game for Spurs, because unless Christian Eriksen's back, you're going to be missing that creative spark again.
Why would he not be back? He's only ill.
Yeah, but he's been ill for a bit, isn't he? So let's hope he's back and assume he's back.
He's gonna be back.
Okay.
Be
all
quiet.
Right.
Just because he didn't play for you a couple of games ago, and you're annoyed because he was ill and you didn't expect it.
He's long gone. He's gone in my wildcard. I already transferred him out. So I think it's a tricky game. I think United will be buoyed. I clearly think Sanchez is going to play. The opportunity to go to Wembley in your first Premier League game and play against your old North London rivals. I hate to say it, but I think there's a case for getting him in early, ahead of that Huddersfield game. I honestly do. I thought he looked okay. I know they're only playing Yeovil, right, the FA Cup, but 2 assists, what's not to like? So, difficult game to call. I'm going to say, for the sake of our marriage, a draw. What are you going to say? Home win, clearly.
No, I actually think it'll be a draw as well.
Good. All right, good. Okay, so...
And not just for the sake of our marriage.
So
it's on the rocks at the moment.
Let's talk about the next game. Let's move swiftly on from Spurs. But before we do, let's say hello to Fantasy Football Pundit. So FFP, thank you guys for joining. Very nice to see you this evening. Talk to me about the next game. Where do you want to go in this fixture list?
I don't know.
We've gone straight to the end and gone to Spurs United.
Let's go back.
Why don't we talk about Swansea Arsenal? So as much as there is a lot of talk FPL wise about Sanchez going to United, clearly.
No, I think
there should be as much talk about Mkhitaryan going the other way.
I totally agree. I said before I didn't really understand why he's gone there. I think he's an idiot for going there. I did understand why he wanted to get out of United. Having said that, now that the move is done, as a fantasy asset, I think Mkhitaryan becomes a really valuable one again.
I think so, because he's in that really nice price bracket where we're kind of struggling around that sort of 7.5, and I think he's about 7.6, something like that. So you don't need to check that. I'm pretty sure he's 7.6. I've been looking at prices all week on my wildcard, so I'm pretty sure.
While lying to your wife.
So I think he's a great option. I think he could be an even better option than Sanchez, because you're talking about almost like half the money for someone who could be just as creative in that Arsenal side around the likes of Ozil and Lacazette.
You've only got to look back to the Mkhitaryan of the beginning of this season and the way that he was with Pogba before Pogba's injury, linking up with Lukaku at United, and he was fantastic. I had him for about 5 or 6 games or so at the beginning of the season, and he was outstanding. And I look at him in that Arsenal side, and you know what you said is correct. With players like Ozil around him, and I suppose we've got to put Lacazette in that bracket as well. There is potential there for goals, certainly. There's good opportunities there for him to be getting assists. Personally, he's one that is massively on my radar. And before the Arnie situation arose, I was going to be getting Ali out this game. That was always my intention. Okay. And I looked very tightly at whether it was going to be for Mahrez or whether it was going to be for Mkhitaryan, and I hadn't quite decided yet. But yeah, he's certainly one that's massively on my radar.
And the one thing for me, I've looked at the Arsenal games quite closely the last couple of games, and I've actually thought that Lacazette has put in much more effort. And I don't know why that is. I don't know.
Well, he had to. He couldn't put in any less.
Yeah, okay. So he's had a tricky season, but for me, before. And we keep saying this, it's the same at Chelsea, it's the same at Liverpool, to a degree, it's the same at Spurs. It's that front man has got to do a lot of work. He's got to create the space and pull the defenders around for the people around him to benefit, right? So Morata wasn't really doing enough of that at Chelsea, and therefore the Willians and the Hazards weren't really doing the business. Firmino does it great at Liverpool, and because of that, Salah and Mane benefit. So Lacazette wasn't doing enough of that work for the Ozils and the Sanchez's and the people around them to really benefit. So if Lacazette can up his work rate a bit and put a bit more of a shift in, that will create space for the likes of Mkhitaryan to do damage. So I'm not jumping on Mkhitaryan straight away in my wildcard, but I'm absolutely looking at him, because if Arsenal can get that dynamic right between those front 3 or 4, I think he could be really, really good value at 7-4, 7-6, whatever it is he is.
I agree with you.
He could be a very, very good asset.
For a change, I agree.
Good. Okay, good.
And obviously within that game as well, I've also got Ayew in my team.
Okay.
Am I going to play him? Don't know. Haven't decided yet. Depends what my sub is, I think.
On their day, you can get at that Arsenal back line. So,
and I also think that Swansea will be buoyed by what happened against you, sorry, to bring it up again, in the last game week.
Yeah, sure.
And they will feel a bit of kind of something from that. Arsenal aren't always that solid at the back.
Yeah.
So there is opportunity to get at them.
So Dom J is saying Lacazette was awful at Bournemouth. Lacazette was awful at Bournemouth. Needs to be fed. I agree with that. I agree with the being fed bit. He definitely, he needs that. He needs to be assisted a lot, right? And that's part of the reason I guess he's brought Mkhitaryan in. So we shall see how that pans out. So let's talk about. So we've talked about United, talked about Arsenal. I don't want to go through all of these games, but maybe we could have a look at the headlines. Why don't we talk about the Leicester City game? And the reason I want to talk about Everton and Leicester City is because the fixtures for Leicester look pretty good between now and actually the end of the season. They don't look too bad. And there's a lot of people considering Leicester assets, considering Mahrez. The Spurs midfielder's out for Mahrez. Yeah. Some people potentially considering Vardy as well. I want to talk about Albrighton in a minute as well as Chilwell and Maguire. So
and that game's
a lot for Leicester right now.
There is, because the fixtures look decent for them. Mahrez is certainly one that's been on my radar for a while. He's one I've been thinking about for a while. I don't know.
Is that your transfer? Are you going to bring Mahrez in this week?
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So I can talk about transfers a bit more detail at the end, but if I do the Ali thing, it's either probably going to be Mahrez or Mkhitaryan. If I get rid of Arnie, which I think is going to be more pressing, then I actually might go for the opposite side of this game and go for Walcott, I'm thinking about.
Okay. Well, I look at the Leicester fixtures, and away at Everton is tricky, right? But they can get something from that. And then Swansea at home. The City game, clearly in the middle of that, sticks out like a sore thumb. But then Stoke at home and Bournemouth at home, there's 3 magnificent home games there. And one of the things I want to point out, and I've got to find this tweet because it's my favourite tweet of the week. Let's see if I can find it on
what worries me about Mahrez is what you said just before we came on when we were talking about him. Is that kind of, we're in a January transfer window. Which closes on Wednesday evening. So this is the last game that it's an issue, really, isn't it? But I always worry with Mahrez that he plays when the window's open, and then when the window closes, he becomes a bit of a kind of like, oh well, I can't go anywhere, so I'll just I just sort of plod along.
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe you have a look at his attitude. I don't know. But I just want to give a quick shout out to this Twitter handle, so Kings of Leon 7. So he's pretty regular, I think, on FF Scout, but not that regular on Twitter from what I've seen. But we've started following each other. And he came up with a table that, and we should absolutely give credit to the guys at FF Scout for this. If you're a member, you can get access to these tables in FF Scout. And he started looking at chances conceded down the right flank, right? And he come across a bit of an outlier, saying that Everton were a bit of an outlier there. And if you look, I don't know if you guys can actually see this table here, but Everton down their right flank have conceded 29 attempts in the last, I think, 4 games, followed by Swansea, who have conceded 18. So 29. So what does that tell you about Everton? It tells you a couple of things, as you can see on the tweet.
On the left.
Well, it tells you that Kenny is a problem, right?
Well, we know that he's a problem because Coleman's also back. And
he's a rotation risk also, but the stats also say from when he has been playing, he's not actually been defending that well because there's a lot of chances being created down his side. And then if you look at Leicester's next 2 games, they go to Everton and then they're home to Swansea. So they are up against the 2 teams that have conceded the most down the right-hand side. So you've surely got to have a look at Albrighton. That is his side. And he's in there at whatever price. He is 5 point something. So everyone seems to be jumping on Mahrez. My view, and certainly something I'm looking at in the wildcard as an enabler for Aguero, is Albrighton. So I'm thinking about doing... I've got Eriksen out already, and I've got Mahrez in. But I'm thinking about a Mahrez switch to Albrighton, and then Firmino up to Aguero, with Aguero captain.
No Firmino, though.
No Firmino, clearly. But, the lure of having Aguero captain for the Huddersfield game is, given that I'm not going to have Sané now either, because he's injured... I just think there is absolute merit in this thing about chances. I mean, that is such an outlier. 10 more chances down that side. So what do you think about that? Do you think in, look at over the course of the season, you look at, Leicester as a side, Mahrez is absolutely the player you'd want. Is there some merit in some of those stats? Do you think Albrighton is a good alternative, at least for those 2 game weeks?
Well, sure. I mean, it depends. For me, it's all about money, isn't it? If you're going to use
what you do with the rest of it.
If you're going to use that money to better your team in another which way, so whether that's Aguero or somebody else, then absolutely, Albrighton could be a fantastic asset for you. Will he bring in as many points over the course of the season as Mahrez will? Debatable, I'd say.
No, and I did a members compare again on FF Scout of Albrighton and Mahrez he wipes the floor with him, right? So if you're looking for the player that's probably going to get you the more FPL points in that position, you would go Mahrez. But you've got to consider Mahrez is about 3 million more.
Sure.
So what can you do with that 3 million? It means you can have a Maguire instead of a Chilwell and still have 2 million to throw about on some other players, right? So, or it means not having a Miljovic and having a Mkhitaryan. Or having a Wildcard, right? So there's a lot you can do with that 3 million. And I'm wondering, this is one of my big dilemmas in my wildcard right now, is I want that Leicester midfielder. Do I go for the obvious pick, which is Mahrez, which I think a lot of people will be going on?
I think a lot of people
will. Or do I go Albrighton as a bit of a differential? And given that I'm looking for differentials, I think that's where I'm going to go.
Wow.
So there we go. There's a nice piece of analysis there. We don't often get heavy on the stats and the analysis. So I don't anyway. You certainly do. I don't. But I like that. I really like that from
this week?
I really like that from Kings of Leon 7. So a massive shout out to that Twitter handle. So if you're on Twitter, go and follow Kings of Leon 7 because he's done a really nice piece of analysis there. So with that Leicester game going away to Everton, what's your thoughts on how that's going to go? Because Everton are not doing too bad right now, right?
No, and Allardyce's 1000th game as a Premier League.
Oh, hold on a minute.
As an
They're
English
doing
manager.
terrible at the moment. What are you saying?
I just think that...
I thought Everton were doing all right. Drawn, lost, drawn.
No, they've had
doing really bad.
They've had a poor run. They were picking up, and now we've gone backwards again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the problem for Everton at the moment is that there's with Toussaint and Walcott and Lennon going, and there's a lot of change going on at Everton, and a lot of Allardyce kind of working out who his team's going to be.
Yeah.
And for me, I think, and with Coleman coming back, and there's just going to be a big period at Everton of resetting. And I think you said, I can't remember whether you said this privately to me or whether you said it on the vlog last week. There's an element with Everton, I think, that they're safely mid-table. They're not going to make the European spots. So, but they're not going to get relegated. So they can play with it a little bit, and they can take some time to settle and work out what their best team is going to be in preparation for what happens in the season or what have you. So for me, Everton are they're a bit of an anomaly at the moment from a fantasy point of view, because I kind of looked at it, and when Everton signed Wildcard, I was like, right, now that I think is a really interesting fantasy player. 7.1 million, relatively cheap in terms of midfielders. I can save myself 2 million from Ali down to him. Frees me up some cash if I want to eventually do Aguero or whoever else it may be. Do I trust him in an Everton team? I don't know.
He certainly looks happier than when I first saw him. He seems to have settled in all right.
Do you know, it's not him that I don't trust. It's the rest of them.
Yeah, maybe. And there's a lot of new faces there.
And that's the problem. That's why I'm not sure I trust them all together yet.
Okay. Well, one thing Dom J has said is it is a tricky one, and Big Sam has come out and said, you know, I can't remember the exact words, but something about, you know, we're not conceding any more goals. You know, he wants to go really, really defensive. So with Leicester coming up there,
well, let's see what happens there, because I think Leicester will score.
Yes, I think so too. But you know, you can't ignore that from Big Sam. That's for me suggesting that, you know, he's not going to go all out to sort of beat these guys. But are the Everton faithful going to accept that? Right, you're going to go at home to Leicester, a team that you should, you know, really they've got to be beating. They can't go ultra defensive, right?
What are you going to do? Just sit there and put everyone behind the ball? You can't do that. You've got to attack.
I'm with you.
And Leicester will punish you if you leave. We've seen from that stat earlier with down the Kenny side of the pitch, and with Mahrez and Vardy and Albrighton and co. They'll punish you if you leave gaps.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see what you guys are saying. So a Leicester asset would be long term if you're going to get him. Jay says so. Mahrez is better. Okay, I'm with you, Jay. I don't disagree with that.
Really. I think fixtures are good long term. So.
Show us your wildcard team, Lee. All in good time, Dan. That is on the way. We're going to cover.
Yeah, I would like to see your wildcard team actually.
And by the way, it's work in progress, right? It's definitely not final because Aguero's not in it yet. But I think I'm going to have him. Let's see what else. What prices are Brighton? Jeremy T, thanks for responding to that. 5.6. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't get Mahrez because I thought he might be gone from Leicester. But we said that, didn't we?
You said that he's come out and said he's not going under any circumstances.
He didn't say that. I think the club said. I think the club said he's not going. So I don't know. Does that mean he's going to?
Is that the club just saying that, or is he actually? I mean, to be fair, when are they playing? They're playing Wednesday night, so they're playing on deadline day. So. Unlikely he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
He's gone by now, surely.
People are saying Jesus back in 10 days, and when it's saying that, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So that's something you've got to consider, because Aguero then becomes another. You get back into that Jesus and Aguero problem. So lots to consider, and we will talk about wildcards in a second. Let's just go back to the games and pick out another couple, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about.
I think there's a couple of other
Newcastle, Burnley potentially.
Well, there's a couple of other games that I think we need to touch on really from a fantasy point of view. There's obviously the Chelsea game, and I think that's important because Chelsea versus Bournemouth. At any other point in any other fantasy league season, you'd look at that and go, right, I need a Chelsea attacker and I need a Chelsea midfielder, and I'm looking at that now and thinking. I might just stick with Alonso. Yeah,
and if you look at the form, Bournemouth are doing okay. So drawn one, drawn. So a bit mixed, but they're not losing games, so they're being hard to beat. And in a Chelsea side that, I was going to say are lacking a bit of a goal threat, but actually they did all right this weekend in the Cup.
Is Morata going to come back in?
I guess so. He's got to kind of go with him, I think, isn't he?
I guess so.
Who knows who they're going to sign in the window? They've been linked with pretty much anybody that's over 6'2" and English. So they seem to have this. I don't know if they've got some sort of English quota player problem, but the arrival of Barkley and maybe one of these other tall guys like Carroll or Barnes or whatever is a bit, kind of sounds like that, doesn't it? For me, I think that's a tricky little game for Chelsea, but I think they will win that.
Well, I do too, but I'm not rushing to get another player.
No, I think you're all right with Alonso. I'm going to go into that game with probably just Christensen.
What, and you're going to keep Christensen?
After
all the whinging that you've done?
Right, so this is very important, right? So it would be so easy to rage transfer Christensen out. He has got to be the most unlucky FPL player.
I cannot even look at you.
But it is exactly that. It's just bad luck. It's not because he's performing really badly. It's not because Chelsea aren't keeping clean sheets, because they are, and it's very hard to score past them at the minute. I'm probably going to be benching Callum Wilson on that basis. But you can't just bin off Christensen because he's been unlucky. I think the sensible thing is to keep him. So I'm going to keep him and cover that Alonso thing.
You can't cover Alonso with Christensen. Have you not learnt that in the last 4 game weeks?
I just see the FA Cup game today. Got a goal and an assist today. Like, oh God,
are you seriously telling me you can cover that with Christensen?
Well, no, but I'm
I come off the pitch after 57 minutes.
Right, so that's a bit of a low blow. So I'm going to counter that with the fact that I'm happy to sit here and say I missed the Alonso bus massively. I massively missed that bus. I missed the Alonso memo by miles. So I can't now really get on him because he's 7'4", 7'5". So can I just do the easy thing and cover the clean sheet with a Christensen 5.5? I sort of have to, don't I? Otherwise I'm talking about finding 2 million somewhere. I haven't got 2 million. So
I can't wait to laugh again.
So the Chelsea game, I think I can't see it being high scoring actually, but I think Chelsea will nick it. I think Chelsea
with
will nick
an Alonso goal.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I can't take any more Alonso goals.
So that was all I wanted to say about that. I think the other team that we don't normally talk about, but I think we have to from a fantasy point of view, is West Ham, because
West Ham.
A lot of people got those players.
Eric Lord is saying Captain Alonso, by the way.
Somebody told me to do that last time, and then he did actually do well, didn't he? And he would have been a better captain option than the one I had.
If you haven't got Aguero and you don't fancy Salah or Firmino because we're a bit rubbish at the minute, maybe Alonso.
Regardless of whether you're rubbish at the moment, Salah is a fantastic fancy captain.
We're still good
option.
going forward. We're just rubbish at the back.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, go on then. West Ham. Have they got any players left? By the way,
no, I don't think so.
Arnautovic out 3 to 4 weeks. Lanzini out 4 to 6 weeks. Masuaku spitting out. Obiang knee out. It's like, who else have they got?
Well, they got this new chap Mario who's not been added to the game yet that I could see because I looked.
He had a wicked announcement thing on Twitter, by the way.
Did he?
Did you see it?
No.
Like a Super Mario graphic thing.
Did he?
It's like, yeah, and he actually, when this little Super Mario icon popped up, it kind of looked. It was pixelated, but kind of looked a bit like Balotelli, and I was just like, oh my god, West Ham has like Balotelli. What are they doing? Absolute disaster. But no, it's this guy.
So I couldn't see him on the game. I did check. I looked for him on the game to see how much he'd gone in. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but I couldn't see him there yet. He's come on loan from Inter Milan. He's pretty much their only option, so surely he's got to play.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with him.
Let's see what Palace's form is like. Let's get rid of that little pop-up. Palace's form is not looking too bad. It's mixed.
But Millie's form is looking good. Scored in the last 3 away Premier League matches.
West Ham haven't lost in 5 games though, so
And they've not lost against Palace in the last 5 Premier League games either.
Okay, so if they can get 11 on the pitch, they'll be doing all right, West Ham.
Yeah, I mean they might be playing Big Sam. They might be playing.
They did go out the FA Cup though, didn't they? They get smashed by Wigan.
They did go out the FA Cup.
2-0. I don't know what sort of side they played, but
they had nobody to play. That's the problem.
And I've still got Adrian in my draft, by the way. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing, but we'll talk about keepers in a bit.
Can't you get Butland instead? Stoke have got a nice run coming up.
I have looked at Butland, but I've also looked at Bauer and a few others at Stoke. And the Stoke-Watford game, I think that's an interesting one because Watford, I think, are in a bit of disarray at the minute. Actually,
I think you should
despite the new guy coming in, they still look as if they've got to take time to adapt to the Silva coming out for Grazia. So a lot of people are looking at the Stoke fixtures and saying, well, this should be someone we should be looking at. Is Choupo-Moting back on the radar?
Yeah.
Is Bauer a decent fullback at 4.5? And I have to say, of those, given his performance in the last game, I'm possibly looking at Shaqiri in my wildcard. The challenge with that is apart from that one game, I then look back and I'm like, when was the last time he got any FPL points? Weeks and weeks ago. I think game week 15, I think, is what I saw on the site. So
at Stoke, they've got a lovely run of fixtures coming up, and so there is that part of you that goes, right, green fixtures, let's get the fancy assets in. But then you actually look at the Stoke team and you think, well, who shall I get? Because there's not that many options there that I would trust or risk. Butland, for me, is the one that I'm thinking about because I've still got the Elliott issue, which is frustrating me.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I'm looking at Butland and thinking, well, actually, Stoke don't look that brilliant going forward, but the fixtures, the people that they've got coming against them also don't look that great going forward. So maybe Butland is a good choice.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. Very quick word on City and West Brom. I can only see that going one way, guys, actually. And City again today, and they play away at Cardiff, which, if you look at that on paper, is potentially a bit of banana skin, but KDB was different class again today, absolutely different class. And Bernardo Silva was superb. So the guy Bennett who got sent off for Cardiff, that was long overdue, that second yellow, and he absolutely should have gone probably for the tackle on Sané. That means Sané's out for a couple of weeks. It was a really bad tackle. So although it was a valiant effort by Cardiff, the class kind of shone through from City. So I'm looking at that game now. I'm looking at the shift that West Brom had to put in against Liverpool and our 12th man, the VAR, at the weekend, and thinking that actually they ended that game with a few kind of niggly hamstrings, a few muscular injuries. It wouldn't surprise me, and I know they've been a bit more resolute recently, West Brom, and they are playing a lot better recently, but going to the Etihad, Yeah, Aguero's had a bit of a rest. I don't know whether David Silva's going to be playing or not.
Well, he's back in Spain.
No, he's back with his family, isn't he?
And given that it's Wednesday night, I don't know. If it was the weekend, I think maybe you got more of a chance because he's out there now.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't know with Silva. He's a bit up in the air. They also, and I mean this in the nicest way I can possibly word it, because obviously he's a fantastic player, but they don't need him to rush back for Wednesday night. It's not like it's Man United or a big team. They're playing West Brom, where they've got a load of other players that can play in those spots. As we saw from other Silva today, they didn't miss him today.
But it sort of feels like he's kind of heir to the throne, Bernardo Silva. So when David Silva eventually does start to taper off, you know, Bernardo Silva's almost like a ready-made replacement. Absolutely. He was phenomenal today, Bernardo Silva. So here's a thought then. Bernardo Silva for the next few game weeks.
Well, the only
with Sané out, you've got to play somebody.
Right. So if Sané was going to play, I'd say no, because if other Silva comes back,
sure.
If there's a rotation risk, because I think David Silva plays if he's in the country. But with Sané injured, depending upon how long that Sané injury is, I would say that means Bernardo's going to get starts, and therefore why not?
Okay,
good differential.
Right. Yeah, very good differential. Very good differential. Okay, so I think we've got an interesting game week of fixtures coming up. Let's have a look at then how I'm looking for my
let's have
team.
a look at how you're looking.
And again, guys, this is very much work in progress, and I've been thinking about this a lot, as you would imagine, over the last few weeks.
Where's my glasses?
So I've got. I had very little to change at the back. So Christensen is still there. Jones, I'm absolutely keeping. I've swapped my keeper already. So Gomez has left and Foster's come back in. That might change again, but at the minute, I think West Brom are looking a bit more tight at the back.
Presumably, you're not playing them against Man City though.
No, but Adrian's got a nice fixture, so they don't look too bad.
Just him.
Yeah. So I know, but I'm not expecting too much from my goalkeepers. I did have Virgil van Dijk here in the Chilwell spot. Can you guys see this? Let's just check on OBS. You can. Cool. Okay. So I did have Virgil van Dijk here. That was a heart overhead decision.
So
and I took him
Chilwell
out at the end of the West Brom game. I was like, "What are you thinking, Lee?" I took him out. I put Chilwell in because I think Chilwell represents really good value. I think Leicester's fixtures look pretty good. There's a chance that Simpson comes in and plays in that position. I think I might have got that wrong, but tell me what you think, guys. But at 4.3. I think that he's good value. He looks as if he's getting reasonably regular game time at the minute as well. So, he missed a couple of games here, but he's playing most of the games, right? So, at 4.3, I think that's decent value. He can sometimes get shifted into midfield as well, if you notice that. But Leicester sometimes push him up a little bit, so he can play there. And Mbemba's staying there as bench fodder, unless I decide that I want another 4-ish somewhere in there. Then the midfield is when it gets kind of interesting. So Ruben Loftus-Cheek is gone. Arnautovic is gone. They were both big problems given that they're injured. I've done a straight swap between Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Miljokovic for now.
Oh, no!
So, well, that's what I'm thinking. It might change, right? It might change. And then Mahrez has come in for Eriksen. Sterling and Salah are going nowhere, right? So these are very much foundational players. Sterling and Salah, I think, are great. I actually think Sterling's looked a little bit off it recently, but he still gets goals. Even though he didn't have a great game at Cardiff, I didn't think today. Still got the goal. So he's a bit like Salah. Salah didn't look great against West Brom, but still got the goal. So he's still going to pop up. So those two are definitely staying. Pogba is one that might change because I just get the feeling that United are going to be.
Where's Sanchez then?
Well, this is it. So I think Pogba is generally, and United are generally going to be much better with Sanchez. He's going to be far more creative. He's going to give them a shot in the arm, and he's going to be a great player for them. On that basis, I expect, therefore, more output from Pogba. So again, I'm looking for value here. Sanchez is absolutely a great pick at 11.7 million or whatever, but has anybody got 11.7 million? Given that, I want to put Aguero in this team as well, and I want to keep Kane. Can't have them all, right? So Pogba in there at 8, I think, represents reasonable value in that Manchester United side. And the fixtures, again, don't look too bad after the Spurs game. So I kind of like Pogba in there at the moment. We'll see. That might change. And then my front three hasn't changed at all yet, but will. So Kane, I can't bring myself to take Kane out. I just think that he can score against anybody. And as we saw with Kane exit 1.0, that a lot of people took him out back-to-back hat-tricks. And okay, he's playing different sorts of teams, but we've already seen what he can do against Liverpool this season. He will, as you guys were saying on the live chat, United will attack Spurs, and Kane can score. He can absolutely score in those games. Callum Wilson, I really like after the Chelsea game, which is tricky because Chelsea aren't conceding a lot of goals. They then go on a really nice run of fixtures at Bournemouth, and I think Callum Wilson looks pretty much locked in up the front there with Defoe injured. So I kind of like Callum Wilson.
Defoe is back in training though.
Is he back in training? Okay, so that's maybe one to have a look at. But I kind of like Callum Wilson in there for now. There is a school of thought that says, if you drop him down to Carnier or somebody really super cheap like a McBurney or maybe even an Ayew is about £1 million cheaper, that frees up some money to do some stuff with the rest of the team. So I'm looking at that too. But for now, Wilson is there. And then Firmino is the real headache. So it's Pogba and Firmino are the real headaches for me right now because Firmino is the one that's going to lose his place should I get Aguero. And at the moment, what I'm looking at is what I said before. So Mahrez down toward Brighton. I'm absolutely looking at that. And using that money to upgrade Firmino to Aguero. That's what
I think you'll massively regret not having Firmino. Particularly if Jesus comes back.
Maybe, but he's part of this template that we're talking about, right? He's part of this template. I need to get away from that template. And captain Aguero this game week is a nice thing to have, right?
Okay.
One of my thinking before the game today actually was that I keep Firmino and I put Sané in the middle there, and I have instead of Pogba I have Sané, so I have Sterling and Sané as my two Man City players that would cover any potential Aguero points. I can't do that now, so if you're going to double up on the Man City midfield, you're probably looking at Sterling and KDB.
Or the other silver.
Or the other silver if you want to go super diff. But going up to KDB again is a couple more million. It's £1.5 million more than Sané would have been. So you've got to find that money somewhere. So this is what I'm thinking, guys. A lot still to be decided. I don't think that I want Sanchez right now, but do I want him for the Huddersfield game and going forward? Yes, I do. Do I think that Pogba could represent really good value if you don't have Sanchez? Yeah, equally good. Equally good, actually. So I'm going to look at that Spurs game, that Man United and Spurs game, in depth. I'm going to have a real good look at that and see how Sanchez plays, see how the setup affects Pogba, and whether Pogba gets forward a bit more. Maybe he won't in the Spurs game because of the opposition, but I want to kind of really really look at that. And I'm also keeping a real eye on clearly, what happens to Aguero in the longer term. I think he is the captain pick in my opinion for this game week against West Brom. But after that, you guys have been saying it. Jesus is back. You then got the problem again. So, do you want him longer term? Maybe a transfer back to Firmino with the opportunity for going up.
Firmino by doing that though.
Well, I don't think I do because I've not had Firmino for that long. So,
okay.
Firmino, I've got in at 9-1, and I think he's 9-2, right? So he's gone up 0.1, so I'm not going to lose much there.
Well, fair enough.
So this is what I'm thinking. I'm really keen to get your thoughts, guys. So let's go back to the chat and have a look at what you guys are saying. So Rodriguez could be a good shout. 28 to 33, Steve Shotton. Yeah, I kind of like that. I don't know whether we're getting a bit blinded by the 2 goals that he got at Anfield. Cheer up, it's only a wild card.
No, you've got me thinking. I was in my head. I was thinking.
How are you going to counter all this? Yeah, I can see.
No, not at all. Because I don't feel I need to. You're well below me.
Oh, outrageous! Absolutely outrageous. True, it's absolutely true. It's outrageous.
No, I was more thinking. If I was you, what would I be doing? And I think for me, I would rather spend the money. I think I would do the Mahrez down toward Brighton, and I'd spend that money doing, putting KDB in this game week, and then putting Sanchez there the following game week.
Well, having KDB and Sanchez in my team.
Well, KDB for one game week, this game week coming up, and then swap him for Sanchez in game week 27.
Okay, interesting. And
then have KDB as captain for this game week.
I mean, you guys are saying, so Josh is saying J-Rod has 5 in 5, and Dom J is saying that he looked at the Saints before the injury. You can't argue with that. I mean, and he did look, and he's finished for the first goal, despite the fact that Moreno gave him half the pitch to walk into. Mm-hmm. Very, very good. I think it's a good pick at 5.5. Is he 5.5? Or if I just made that up because Josh said 5 in 5 games. Whatever price he is, he's an enabler, J-Rod, I think. So, absolutely a good pick. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Dan C, 1.9 million in the bank. You're totally tinkering until death. Absolutely right. I've bbeen tinkering all week with this. So let's see where it ends up. Save a little with Wilson to Rodriguez. Yeah, maybe Mark. Yeah, maybe. I don't mind that Rodriguez shout, by the way. I don't mind that. Let's have a look what else you going. Lee, your team really needs some work. Jamal, you're absolutely right, mate. You're absolutely right. Let me help you. I would welcome that.
No, Jamal, no. Jamal, I thought
Chelsea
you were
and Man
Team
U
Sam.
defenders. I got Chelsea and Man U defenders. What's going on? Man City and Liverpool attackers.
Yeah, but you've got the wrong one. You've got Christensen. For goodness sake, man. Sort it out.
I've got like the poor man's version of yours, haven't I? I've got like Christensen instead of Alonso, and I was going to have Stones actually.
Tell you what's going to really make me laugh. It's been off at like 50 odd minutes again. Half time.
I love what Jamal's saying here, by the way. Look, he's saying so. Man United and Chelsea defenders, City and Liverpool attackers. That consultation was free. There you go. Job done. Cheers, Jamal. I like that. Let's see what else you guys are saying.
I love Jamal. It makes me chuckle.
Benteke. Come on, guys. I want to hear about this Benteke.
Well, I looked at that and you laughed at me a few weeks back. Do you remember?
Benteke. I'm not sure about him. I'm not sure about that. Shaqiri from Stoke. Yeah, kind of like the look of Shaqiri.
I always want to sing Shakira. When
one assist in how many weeks, though? I mean, not sure I'm jumping on him immediately. Let's see what else you guys... Let's go back down to the bottom to have a look. West Brom defence defo looks good during that period, and Dawson always a goal threat. You're absolutely right, Steve. That's part of my thinking for getting Foster, right? So I think I want Foster because that. Whether I want to double up on West Brom, I'm not sure yet.
I think this might be a bit of a risk.
Let's have a look. So Achuthan, I think I've said your name right there, Achuthan. Sorry if I haven't. Lee, you haven't missed the boat with Alonso. There are more points coming, and he's still good value. Very difficult to argue with that. I feel like I've missed the boat.
I think you're massively missing the boat right now by not getting Alonso. Because you are going to be a total nightmare the next time Alonso scores. When have you ever seen Christensen score a goal?
No, I get that. But, up until... the FA Cup this weekend was an anomaly. He got a goal and assist, right? And again,
scored
fantastic
two goals against Spurs this season.
Yeah.
Scored loads of goals this season.
Last few weeks in FPL, Chelsea haven't been scoring goals, and he's not been getting goals and assists. And actually, he's been, were it not for Christensen being ill or off after 59 minutes, he would have matched Alonso's output, right? So it's just unlucky. The Christensen is an unlucky pick for the last few games. Right. It's unlucky.
Okay, dear.
You don't need to change it. Don't you dear me. I'm not having that. So Jeff Holt is saying he's aiming for the top 10 in our league, 30th right now. So fair play to you, Jeff. Well done, mate. Well done. 30th in our league. Good effort. Some way to go before you get up there with Jamal. But aiming for the top 10 is very
How far
achievable.
You got to get to
I'm way down.
That's why you're going with Christian.
I'm just very happy that we've got Jamal on giving me this free consultation. It's very good. Leicester fixtures look good. Mara is going to be great, but potentially all Brighton too. Yeah. We've discussed that, and I think I'm going to go all Brighton in the end because I want the money to do Aguero. I think that's what's going to happen. And Aguero may become Sanchez over the next few weeks, so that's my kind of strategy. So that's enough about my team because there is still plenty to do, plenty to think about. And again, get onto Twitter at FPL Family. Tell me what I should be doing. Right, I'm going to post my current wildcard team on there straight after the stream. Get on there, give us a retweet, let us know in the comments what I should be doing because I need help. Frankly, I need help. And I know Jamal's not on Twitter, so I can't get help from Jamal. So the rest of you
and Jamal is Team Sam. We've been through this.
Jamal is Team Sam. Yeah, I've heard this. I'm not happy about it, but I've heard it. Let's stop talking about my team and let's talk about a far, far better side, which is your side. Thoughts about transfers and indeed captain for this game week.
Right, so original plan, as I said last week, was that Ali would, I said for a few weeks, Ali would leave this game week.
Still planning that?
For Mahrez, that was always my intention. Okay. Then the Mkhitaryan deal happened and I thought, okay, well do I do Ali to Mkhitaryan instead? Quite fancy that. And then the longer term news of Arnie's injury came out. So
yeah. So we've all got a bit of a problem there, haven't we?
Yeah. And so then I looked at that and I thought, actually, is the Ali thing something that could wait? Yes. All right.
Yeah, you'd like to do it, but Arnie needs to be dealt with, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah. So okay.
Are you on Loftus Cheek?
No.
No. Okay. So
I'm on Ive. Jordan Ive, aren't I?
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
So in my mind now, I'm thinking, right, well, Ali, yes, I don't really fancy him against Man United. However, I certainly don't fancy an injured Arnie. So I might as well deal with that. So now I'm looking at what I do with Arnie, and this is where I dislike you a lot, because my original... I thought about Walcott for a little while. My transfer this week is going to be Arnie to Millie, because I've been talking about that for so many weeks now. I kind of feel like I've missed it. I missed it last game week and I should have done it then, so I'm going to do it now.
So your midfield's going to have Ibe and Miljovic, a couple of cheapies.
It is, which will mean I've got 2.6 in the bank, which actually then means that next game week I can upgrade Ali
to Sanchez
or KDB.
Nice. Okay, I like it.
So that's where I am.
Okay, all right. So let's see what you guys think of that.
They'll think I'm right because
in fact, who was it? Somebody just said on here. Here comes the real FPL expert, Sam, next. Thanks, Dom J, for that. Appreciate that, mate. That's really kind of you. Aguero, a classic knee-jerk.
I'm not doing Aguero. I'm not.
I think you're talking about me, right?
I thought long and hard. To be honest with you, I've thought long and hard about Aguero this week. And in the end, I firmly believe in Firmino. I just think that Firmino will bring me fantasy points. And I totally get that Aguero could get a hat-trick this game week. He could absolutely do that. But also, in that Man City team, it could be any of them. It could be KDB, it could be Sterling.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm just not prepared to take a risk on Aguero, particularly with the news that Jesus may be back. I'm not prepared to do it.
Sure. And Firmino is definitely not a bad pick.
I'm not prepared to. And for me, I lose a lot of money on Firmino. I think it's something like 0.4.
Yeah. I wonder whether he's still on penalties after missing that one the other night.
Well, that doesn't really bother me. He's going to score goals.
He will do, yeah. I think he'll score goals. And Huddersfield, I mean, that's a nice fixture to play right now.
So my plan is Arnie to Millie this game week.
Jeff, thanks, Jeff. I think I'm going to stay away from Aguero after tonight's advice because I'm getting him in. It's just like, no, don't go there because Lee's going there.
Whatever Lee does, do the opposite.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, so he's going to have cursed Millie. I guarantee he'll do nothing now. I'm getting him in.
I'm not guaranteed to have him in. He's there as a what I'm thinking right now.
Well, mine will be Arnie to Millie this game week, and then Ali will depend on what happens over the next 48 to 50 odd hours as to what I do next in terms of will it be KDB or will it be Sanchez, but it will be one or the other.
Okay, cool. Captain for this game week?
Oh, and this breaks,
tricky, isn't it?
This breaks my little heart because I can't captain Kane. I just can't do it.
Against United, it'd be tough.
I can't
It'd be tough to captain him.
I really, really want to. Every ounce of me wants to captain
Go on then,
Kane.
who else?
So I'm looking at either Firmino, Salah or Sterling this game week. I think I'm going to go Salah.
Salah. I think he's a popular pick, actually. And at this point, I think it's a really good idea to look at the poll and see whether we can get the poll working. Right, guys, we've got to have a look at this to see whether... so you guys that joined...
right, now this will be funny.
Outside of the first couple of minutes.
Can Lee work it
I've
out?
got this poll up and running, right? So I think it's top right. Check it out. Who's your game week 25 captain? And
I'm going to get it up
I somehow need to figure out, and I'm pretty sure I would have screwed up the OBS by doing that. Yeah, I would have done. Brilliant. Okay. I need to go down a bit more than that chat. Right, that's the chat back in place.
Hang on, I can look at it surely from here.
You can. I'm sure you'll be able to get it.
Right, now how do I do it on here?
So it's the little eye, right? That little eye. So vote. Salah. Right, okay, this is definitely not how we should be doing it. I should be doing it in here, but I'm not. So here's they won't be able to see that. So here's the captain choices for this game week so far. 68% of you going Salah, that's pretty serious. Aguero 25, Kane 3, Sanchez 0, Hazard 3. So pretty overwhelmingly, Salah looks like a very good captain choice.
I think that's what I'm going to do because I really do fancy you in that game. I do, and I just feel like in this game week. There are so many big names playing, particularly from that Spurs and United game with Sanchez and Kane and co, against each other. Yeah. I want to avoid that. So yeah, it's going to be. I did think about Sterling, but again, I don't trust any Man City player to be the one in each game. So
yeah, sure.
Because it could be another one. So it's come down to Firmino or Salah, and I just trust Salah a little bit more to get more. I can see Salah scoring a goal, but. In any game, Salah could get a million.
Absolutely right. So, and again with me, it completely depends on where the wildcard ends up, right? So if I end up going Aguero,
well, you have to captain him if you have him,
sort of talking me out of a little bit tonight, and some of you guys are talking me out of, which I was pretty sure I was going to do that. But if I have Aguero, I'm going to captain Aguero.
I think you have to.
Because again, he's a bit more of a differential. The challenge with that then is that if you don't go Salah as captain, and a lot of people seem to be going Salah, that's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it?
Particularly when so many in the game have him, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So there's going to be a lot of Salah captainers this game week because not everyone's on Sanchez or Aguero or that yet. So
well, and does anyone really want a captain out of that Man United Spurs game? I don't think so.
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe. So I still think there's going to be a lot of people that have got Sterling. I think he'll be a popular choice. But yeah, Salah looks good. So if it's me, I'm going Aguero if I've got him. If not, I probably will do Salah. Probably. Although the differential in me, or the guy that wants to be different because I need to be. Yeah, Sterling. I do think City are going to rip that team apart.
I agree with you.
West Brom, shouldn't be saying that in the back of them beating us, but I just think that they put a lot into that, and I can see City doing a bit of a job on them. So maybe Sterling, but yeah. So Aguero or Salah, I think, are the obvious choices.
So what's your top points pick then?
Top points pick. I haven't put that much thought into it. So much thought into my wildcard. I haven't put that much thought into it. I'll talk to you about jammy picks in a minute, because I think Brighton is a really nice jammy pick.
Oh, he's not one of my options. He can be yours.
But, well, based on what we just discussed about, the fact that Everton are conceding a lot of chances.
He's
3.55 TSB, yeah.
Oh, well,
So he can be a differential, can be a jammy pick. In terms of top points pick, let's have a look at the fixtures again. I don't want to go with the obvious one. Why have I gone transfers? That's not the right thing to do. Let's go fixtures. Let's see. Difficult to pick one, isn't it? I think you've got to go Man City, and I think you probably go Man City, don't you? You've got to probably go Aguero, haven't you? If you've got Aguero, you've got to captain him, and you've got to think that he's going to do well. He's been rested in the FA Cup game because they want to bring him in to score goals for this game. I think you've got to go Aguero, top points pick. Okay. It's a bit obvious, but I think that's where I'm going to
go. All right, jammy picks this week then. I just sort of have a new strategy with my jammy picks at the moment. So I just look for teams that I think are going to do well and then pick somebody from within them.
Okay.
So this week, the two teams that I fancy to kind of do something are Burnley and Stoke.
So Burnley are away at Newcastle. Anyone playing Newcastle right now is a good pick. Correct. Okay, so who have you got from Burnley?
So Burnley, I've got Goodmanson.
Yeah, no, I like that as a choice. Because he's looked, looking at the stats, he looks far more creative.
Correct.
Lately.
High creativity points. Have you been reading my notes?
I wasn't even reading your notes. This is just something I've seen on Twitter. He's looking far more creative. He is, yeah. So I like that. That's a good pick.
Only owned by 0.7% of the game.
Oof, proper
5 million.
Territory.
So he's cheapy. Cheap
maybe
pick.
I should have him instead of me.
Yeah, do that. So Goodmanson from Burnley is one of my potential options for jammy picks this week. The other one I fancy is Stoke, because I just don't fancy Watford.
Stoke at Watford looks good. Yes.
So this week I'm going to pluck for Joe Allen from Stoke.
Oh, an old favourite of mine. And again, I kind of like that, right? And again, we're all talking about the Shakiris and the Choupo-Motings. Allen's actually coming to the fore a little bit more. So he's being a bit more attack-minded. I looked at some of the average heat maps, thinking that he's playing more in that number 10. He's actually not. He's actually still in that centre mid, but he's getting forward more rather than just sitting when they attack. He's getting part of that attack. So
so scored against Huddersfield. His influence numbers look good. So not so much in the creativity and threat, but his influence numbers are looking better. Okay. So he's an option as well. I think of the two of them, I'm probably going to pluck for Goodmanson simply because Newcastle are that bad.
I like that. I think
Burnley will win that game.
I think it's a good pick. Let's see what you guys are saying. So Michael, thanks for joining, mate. He said Andre Ayew or Antonio as jammy picks because Arnie and Lanzini. I like Antonio. I like that's a jammy pick.
Well, somebody's got to step up for West Ham, haven't they? Certainly.
They certainly do. They've got to look to get the goals from somewhere. So maybe Antonio is the spark they need. I like that. It's not a bad shout, Michael. Ali saying, can I get Brighton? I think you absolutely can have that. It's a very good choice for this game week. Shaqiri or Walcott, I think. Yeah, potentially. Zaha from Ali as well. Maybe. Although I'm not sure. That Palace West Ham game, it's hard to call that one.
That Palace West Ham game is so difficult, yeah. And actually at the moment, from Palace, it's Millie, isn't it? It's always Millie.
Yeah, I think so. Spencer saying the Welsh Pirlo, Joe Allen plays way too deep. Yeah, I think you're right, Spencer. Although, again, looking at the heat maps, he does seem to be still sitting in that central midfield. But, the eye test suggests that when they attack, he's given a bit of licence to go rather than sit. So, I don't know. It could be a good one. Josh is saying Rondon, jammy pick. Rondon. Did you see he got a link with Liverpool in the week? Did you see that?
Do you know what?
Unbelievable.
I would love it. I would love it if Rondon went to Liverpool. That'd be like...
Can you imagine?
I'd get you a Liverpool shirt with Rondon on the back.
We'd have to have hashtag Team Rondon on the back of the Liverpool shirt.
Rondon.
Oh, we've got to do that.
You'd have to. I'm not wearing it, but you could.
Rondon. Actually,
Rondon,
for me...
Hashtag legend.
Oh, God, dear me. Well, I'm not sure about his legend status yet. He's getting there, though, isn't he?
I think he is legend status. In fact, next year I might call my team Team Rondon.
So, Mark Erskine, so thanks for joining, Mark, is saying, jammy pick Kennedy. So he's on loan from Chelsea to Newcastle. I kind of like that as well, because he's obviously going to go there on the back of wanting to play.
But Newcastle?
Yes, I get that. And I think Benitez came out and said, so I think he was asked in a press conference where Kennedy fits in. And I think Benitez says something like, he can play anywhere. And then went left wing back, left forward. So in his mind, he's already thinking, you can play anywhere on that left, but the first thing that came out of his mouth was left wing back. That's a bit of a worry for me, rather than he can play attacking left mid. So I worry that he's going to play him left wing back. So it's a bit of a wait and see on Kennedy for me, but super cheap, like 4.7 or something.
I'll just reiterate that.
Super cheap.
Newcastle.
Yeah, I get it. All right, I think we're pretty much there, guys. Thanks for all those jammy picks. Some really good ones in there, actually. Some really good ones.
Thank you.
I like Goodmanson. I think
you're just trying to get back in my good books.
I am, and I do, guys. I do need to do that this evening. Definitely need to get back in your good books for not coming clean on the wildcard thing. I would like to say I apologise.
When did you play the wildcard?
I don't. Oh well, a few days back.
No, be truthful.
No, a few days back.
What day was it?
Well, when did the last game week finish?
Last weekend, last Sunday.
Well, last Sunday.
You played for a week. You've lied to me.
As well as as soon as Arnautovic was out for a few weeks, I was just like, right, so he's got to go, RLC's got to go, Kenny's got to go, Gomez has got to go, and I want Aguero, I want this, I want that. So
does anyone else worry what else Lee lies to me about?
It's only that. Right, guys, I think that is it. If you're not following us, as usual, get on to at FPL Family on Twitter and at FPL Family on Instagram.
I'm going to have to join Twitter under an alias so that I can follow you.
Catfish me on Twitter. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant stuff. All right, guys, that is it. We are going to see how these games go. We're going to come back on... We've got to do a reaction video halfway through the game week, haven't we? Should we do that?
Well, we're going to have to
look forward to the next game week, which is only then at the weekend, right? Going to be a bit of a double whammy during the week.
I guess it's going to have to be Thursday. I guess
we're going to have to see where we can fit that in. I think it's going to be Thursday, I think, isn't it? And we're going to have to very quickly react to the game week we're about to see Tuesday, Wednesday, and then look forward to game week 26.
When it's the FPL Family Derby.
Oh my goodness me! Is it Liverpool Spurs next weekend?
Yep.
Oh goodness me! Right, goodness me. Not so. Positive about that as I was a few weeks ago. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us as usual. Good night to you all, and yes, we will see you during the week, probably Thursday. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. So hit that like button if you like the video. Hit that subscribe button at FPL Family on Twitter, and we will see you next Thursday. Good luck in game week 25.
May the green arrows be with you.
Cheers, guys. Good night.